We've had the privilege of working with many leaders internationally over recent weeks. Their contexts are very different, but there are some recurring themes with clients. When we encourage them to stand back for a moment, there are questions that they are finding helpful as they look forward to seeking a longer-term direction. We'd like to share some of those questions with you for if they might be helpful in your context. The starting point is inviting people to reflect on what they're learning about their leadership over recent weeks. Sometimes very new aspects of their leadership have come to the fore. Sometimes it's reinforcing what they're good at from previous experiences. The second question that has been fruitful for people to reflect on is who do they observe rising to the challenge? And who can they encourage in terms of building on that progress and help them in their further development? At the same time, the question of who can you check in with, who has been struggling, and how can you help them adjust to the situation and make the most of difficult circumstances. It's helpful to reflect on what we are learning as a team, both from missteps and successes, and how can that learning be embedded going forward for the future. After a number of weeks of having to think and work in different ways, many organisations are seeing breakthroughs that have been made in terms of ways of working. Maybe there are past habits and practices that can now be left behind, as people are recognising that there's been more progress in 3 weeks than might have been conceived of in 3 years. An important question to reflect on is how can these strong levels of communication and connectivity within teams and organisations be maintained and built on? And when there is a moment, to begin to reflect on what future success would look like is always fruitful. What are going to be the futures of the way we operate going forward in terms of delivery, behaviours and values? And also it can be timely to think about what can stall our momentum and how can we avoid that happening as we look forward. So we encourage everyone to seek to set aside some time to look beyond the immediate, to see what further progress can be made, building on what has been happening. It can be helpful to use a key phrase or word to encapsulate what has been happening and how do you want to progress things going forward. For some people, the phrases rescue, repair and renewal have provided a helpful framework. For others, words like recovery, recalibration, refocus, reconstruction have provided a basis to think forward in a constructive way. We encourage you to think about what concept might sum up what you're seeking to do as you move forward, building on a sense of shared endeavour and shared learning. Our suggestion is to think about 1 or 2 questions that help you and your immediate team think through what are the benefits from what has been happening and how best do you want to move forward in a sustainable way.